I'm Kim Quick, the creator to the Forever Love Formula online event. I can't wait until you dive into this next episode. I created this event so you can discover the ultimate keys to successful dating and have a lasting love, so that you can confidently navigate the dating process, literally turn on a faucet of quality men, and joyfully choose an amazing man for you and have a lasting love. So step right in and enjoy this next episode to the Forever Love Formula online event. Hi, it's Kim Quick, love and relationship expert and the host to the Forever Love Formula online event. Our expert today is Deborah Morehead. Welcome, Deborah.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here too. And, you know, Deborah has an interesting story after being stood up on her 30th birthday by her drug-addicted boyfriend. Deborah was determined to figure this relationship stuff out. And, you know, as an expert therapist of 23 years, speaker, and outstanding teacher, she has condensed her education, her personal, professional, and client experiences, and created her effective and efficient happiness freedom formula. Woohoo!
Thank you.
And today, Deborah's going to talk about certain steps to have that drama-free relationship. And, you know, with this online event, this is about how do we date to set ourselves up for success and having the lasting and forever love. So this is just perfect. So I can't wait to hear all about this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kim. Yeah, but obviously my story tells a lot, right?
Yeah.
And so what I really wanted to share with is, you know, I had to learn the hard way, the long road, right? I know that. Yes, I think many of us do. So, and I think that's why we're here, right? Because if we've learned some things, and if we can share this with even just one person to help them to make a difference, we want that. Because
absolutely.
We all know we can go not very good directions.
Yeah, you know, and learn from, you know, people that have made mistakes and transformed it, and, you know, so you don't have to waste your time anymore, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so there was, you know, knowing what the topic was and being able to share, I know you especially like, okay, what's like number one thing that they can do while they're dating to really be able to make a difference in the long run for that forever love, right? Wow. That's a good forever love. That's what we want.
Exactly. Yeah. Harmonious.
Yes. Yeah. So what and we'll talk about, I don't know if at the end we'll talk about the gift or not, but the gift that I have, that's what I'm going to actually be talking about, is one of the steps of that drama-free relationship. And I'm going to start with a statistic that we actually know in the research on couples work is that couples, and John Gottman in some of his research had discovered this, that couples who, do not tolerate bad behavior in the beginning stages of the dating and the relationship, we actually know from research that they are more successful in the long-term marriages. They're what John Gottman calls, they're the masters of marriage. So the idea, of course, is let's think about this. So I don't know about you, Kim, but I know that, you know, especially when I look back at my earlier dating, when I was in that situation and other dating early on, I had a part of me, I didn't want to have conflict, or if we fought, I didn't want that, so then I would avoid saying anything. it's just all of those different things that sometimes keep us from saying something.
Yeah, we don't want to the boat.
Exactly. All of those different things. And the problem is, if we tolerate behaviors that are not really acceptable to us, if we tolerate and we don't say something, then one, that's allowing the other person to think that those behaviors are okay. And I oftentimes talk about it even is almost training the person on how to treat us. Because if we don't step up and say something, then they're thinking that way is okay to treat us because we're tolerating it. So it becomes really important to step up and say something.
Absolutely.
So what I want, oh, go ahead. Yes.
So but that can be like, we know this intellectually, but for some reason we will step over things because maybe what I've seen, a couple of reasons is, one, we don't know how to communicate. We haven't been taught how to communicate in a way that would be empowering to each person. Yes. And then number two, we have some things maybe happened in the past where maybe we did speak up and then we got shut down. So now we're afraid of those consequences.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what I want to at least share with today, is to give people the idea of how to speak up. Awesome. Now, what?
I said awesome.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, because you got to have the tools. Yeah. Not that it's going to be easy, but you got to have the tools. Yeah, the issue, I understand that we all bring in our fears from our past relationships and we bring them into new relationships. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things when I'm working with any single women around this issue. When I'm also working with women who are newly in relationships, I have to constantly remind them, okay, this is a different relationship. This isn't, this man is not the same as what you had before or anything like that. And of course, me as a therapist, right, we tend to keep picking similar type of men until we really have self-awareness about us and our growing up. And that's actually in my that self-awareness is one of the earlier steps. You got to have that so you pick a better man. But once you know that, then when you pick somebody, you just have to override the fear. Easier said than done, but that is like, I deserve to have a great relationship, so I have to do my part in creating that. Yeah, and if you need to post that somewhere, put that up, but that's really what it is. I deserve to have a great relationship, so I'm going to do my part in creating that.
Okay, ladies, pause the video and write that down.
Yes. Yeah. And just remind yourself. So even when you're scared to bring something up, remind yourself, and then you want to use this tool that I'm going to talk about. Most of us have all heard this. John Gottman, in his work, he refers to as the gentle startup. We've all heard of it as the I statement, right? So it's not that we don't know this. I'm going to tell you that when I work with women that I'm working with, whether they're dating or even in the relationship at that point, I teach them this, and then we practice it. They bring up a scenario to me, and we practice it. And I'm going to say this to all of the women that are listening here. When you're starting this out, it is not easy to do. So I want you, when he does something that is not the way he responded about something, or the way he said, spoke with you, or whatever it is that is not an okay behavior that you want to speak up to, the first thing I'm going to say, at least until you get this down better, walk away for the moment, because the chances of you being able to say this in a helpful, effective way at the beginning is going to be very slim to none. I've been working with a woman, and it's just been so fun. She and I have actually worked together about 1.5 years, and she was dating somebody at the beginning, and she just got married a month ago. So it's very, very fun. But I have to tell you, the last time I saw her, which was right before the wedding, she said to me, I cannot tell you how much saying these I statements is drilled into my brain, and it is the way that I speak to my, either fiance or my now husband. And she said that has made all the difference in our relationship. So I want you to get that this can make all the difference in the relationship. You just need to make sure you do it well.
Because like you've calmed down.
Yes, exactly. Because if you don't, it's just not going to come out. And here's this is why, why we avoid the conflict, right? Because if I say something and I'm saying it from an emotional place, in all likelihood, I'm going to say it in a way that has a tone to it or some sort of accusatory, attitude, right? And that is automatically going to put him on the defense. And once we are in a defensive mode, then all we're doing is trying to defend. This is my position. You need to hear it. No, this is my position. And it just becomes this, right? So I think we've all experienced that, right? So making sure that you've calmed down, and then you use this really, really effectively in the relationship. So just to summarize, an I statement is, it's not comfortable because there is some vulnerability to it, but you start with I feel or I felt if it's past tense. And be very careful, because this is where we want to switch it up to a you statement. I feel, and you actually give your feeling words. I felt hurt. I felt disrespected. I felt unimportant, uncared for. I mean, some of those gets into our thoughts, but those, you want to really give those feelings. I felt sad. I felt lonely. I felt disconnected, right? You want to say the real feelings that you had. Now, there's a little trick on this. So often, the first thing we say is I felt, and it's some word that describes anger. I felt angry, upset, frustrated, annoyed, irritated, right? It's not that you didn't have those feelings, but usually we know the anger feelings are more, there's another feeling underneath that. So make sure you get to the underneath feeling, because the whole reason that you're saying the feeling is you're trying to create the connection. And if, Kim, because if I say to you, Kim, I really felt hurt and disappointed when you called, the last minute when we were showing up for our lunch date, right? Because it seemed to me like you weren't being considerate of my time, right? Mm-hmm. Because I say that to you that way, you're my friend, and you're going to go, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't want you to feel hurt, or that, I didn't mean to be inconsiderate of you, right?
Yeah.
So when we share our feelings, it actually creates connection. So you start with the I feel or I felt and come up with the feeling words, deeper than just anger. That's the first part. Second part is when you, and this is really, really important. You do not want to shift this around. All you're going to do is describe the behaviors or the facts, right? The example I just gave with you, I didn't say, when you were selfish and didn't even care about me and called right when it was time for us to have lunch, right? I didn't call you names or define you or anything like that. I just described the facts. When you called, 5 minutes or right before we were supposed to be meeting for lunch. That's a fact, right? You can't argue with that. I didn't put anything in there that was attacking you, right? Make sense?
Yep.
So ladies, so that's what you want. So it's I feel or I felt when you, and only give facts, behaviors, nothing else, no meaning to it, no interpretations, that's all. And then you go to the because, and this is where you do get to describe your interpretation, your perspective, but you do it very carefully. So you can use terms like, because it seemed to me like you weren't thinking about me, or that you weren't really caring how that would affect me. I'm not saying you didn't even care, blah, blah, blah. I'm saying it seemed to me.
Yeah.
So that you get to put your perspective in, but it's you're owning that perspective. You're not putting the interpretation on it. You're not putting it on them. All right. And then the last is, and what I need or what I want. And you want to be specific. This is where, as women, we often say, and I need you to just respect me. Right? And the poor man is going, what would, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, what's that mean?
Yeah. So you want to be specific, right? So in the scenario I was even just doing with you, so, and what I really need is for you ideally to show up when we've made a commitment, but at minimum, if you're not going to be able to, let me know, 24 hours, let me know the day ahead of time or whatever, something like that. So it's very specific in what you're asking for. So those are the 4 elements. So if you got them, wrote them down. I feel or felt, when you, just the facts, because that's the it seems or whatever, my interpretation, my perspective, and what I need or want from you.
Yeah, you would say this even like if that something happened on the first date, correct?
Yes. In fact, the sooner the better. I mean, if somebody, now, of course, and you and I've in the past have talked about this, I mean, you're looking for red flags the entire time. But here's the bottom line. People are not going to be perfect in any situation. So if they do something, like if they, it could be anything. If they drove fast and that made you uncomfortable and it seemed not very safe for you. If they just got out of the car and like were walking 10 feet in front of you or something like that. Now, those are all signs, red flags, but you don't know. Maybe they were worried about being late to the restaurant. And so you don't know what's the reasoning going on for them. So that's why you can kind of be curious and go, wow, you were walking really fast. What was going on for you? And you may learn. And then it would be really simple, well, just so you know, I kind of was feeling, whatever. I kind of was feeling unimportant or not that, unimportant when you were walking 10 feet in front of me and I wouldn't even get into that, especially early on. I just say, you know what? Let me know if you're in a hurry in the future or something, but it would really mean a lot to me. What I really need is for us to walk by, side by side when we're on a date or something like that, right?
Yes.
So yes, you do want to bring it up very carefully, but you do want to bring it up. So
I love that. And, to start to do that from the beginning. Now, what about because another thought that comes into my mind, we can't be doing this 10 times on a night out, if everything's bothering you. I mean, how do we have this balance? You know what I mean? Because then the guy's going to be like, geez, I can't make this woman happy.
Right. Yeah. No, you definitely don't want to do that. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's part of the time where a lot of times, especially earlier on, you want to say something, but a lot of times, I mean, first, so I guess there'd be one of 2 things. If there's things that are annoying you or irritating you that many times in one day, you need to rethink about that. Either you have ridiculous expectations of somebody, or you are dating somebody that has a lot of their own issues, and you probably don't want to go forward with that anyway, right? So, because there shouldn't be that many situations.
Yeah.
But you do want to think, is this really an issue or not? And I often talk about what you're really looking for. It's not like every little tiny thing, right? It's more about, I guess I would say, character issues, right? I mean, now there's a time and a place for just a behavior thing, but if somebody is really, really mean or unkind to the waitress, say, for example, I would say something about that, because, and it may not be that night. You may say it, the next date or the next time, or the next time you talk on the phone and say, hey, I was just thinking, and I have written down my I statement, and I have it in front of me when I'm on the phone, and I was just thinking, there was something that happened when we were on the date last night that made me a little uncomfortable, and I just want to understand it a little bit more, right? And then I would say my I statement and, say, can you help me to understand more what was going on? So, but you're not, it's not about every little tiny thing.
Yes. Clarify that.
Yeah.
I like what you said about being curious, because even going back to the example of, say, the gentleman was rude to the waitress, you could say afterward, oh, God, is everything okay? You seem like you were really upset at the waitress. Like, just to kind of be curious to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Him first before, you think he's, doing it on purpose. In some respects, we're all trying to do the best that we can.
Yes.
And, there's a element of choosing your battles, I guess. And if I think it's something to do more like, your values, and some high level things that, to speak, to speak up and to have those boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. And that is what this is about, and why. But I'm glad you just used the word boundaries, because that you want to be setting these, expectations, boundaries, these things early on in the relationship. And so, yeah, but that is the things. What are the things that you have your boundaries around? But you're absolutely right. And curiosity, honestly, the I statement is great. Use it. And when you see something that doesn't sit well with you, or that you don't really agree with it, asking a curious question is the best way to just address it. There's no attacking, there's no defensiveness in it. There's just this like, wow, you know what? I just kind of noticed this. I'm just curious what's going on for you, or help me to understand what was your thinking around that. I really want to understand that more, or understand you more. Just be curious.
Yeah, I love that. I just want to understand you more. I just want to understand what's going on. Maybe something happened before you ended up meeting.
Yeah.
And kind of, has somebody upset. They don't, So that's, the communication is so key.
Yes.
Starts in dating. And of course, it's even more important when you're in a long-term relationship.
Yes.
Communicate with each other.
Yeah, and that's why, because remember, when you're in the dating process, you're setting the precedents for, if this is going to be a long-term relationship, you're setting the precedents, you're setting up how that relationship is going to be long-term. And that's why this becomes so important, to be addressing these things in the relationship early on. So, yeah.
You're practicing. And that's a good way of looking at it too, because sometimes, you might not always do it. And so you don't want to make yourself wrong if you don't.
Yeah.
But to keep practicing. I love how you said, write it down and have it in front of you, and connect with that, and maybe even practice not only in dating, but in with other people in your life too.
Yeah, absolutely. The use of the I statement can be used, at work, with friends, with family. It's, it can be used everywhere. It's a good practice. It's the best thing that you can do for yourself and really for communication. You know, because I also work with couples who have been together for a while who are coming because their marriage is on the, on the rocks. And, the issue is, they all identify communication as the issue. Now, there's more to it than just communication, but really it's because there's been a bad pattern or a lack of communication, or when they attempted, because we all make attempts to get the other person to understand kind of what we're feeling or thinking, but the way that we do it often just ends in an argument. And so, being able to help people to connect in a way where they're really actively, deeply listening to each other, because that's what we don't do well. And this tool, the I statements, is one of the best ways to start to get that happening more.
Yeah, and you know what? Another element to it is to see when you do communicate and you ask for things that you need, how does the man respond? That's going to tell you a lot too, if this is a relationship that's going to be the forever love.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up, Kim. There's a class that I had taken that was really about dealing with difficult people, right? And there he had laid it out beautifully. But one of the you want to make sure you're in a relationship with a reasonable person. And there are certain skills that a reasonable person that you have to be able to communicate well. And the ability to accept that you made a mistake and to be able to take responsibility for that mistake and be able to step into empathy about, what I did that had this impact on you. I mean, all of those become really, really important. And you are, for that forever love, your job is still to be evaluating this other person all along the way. And so being able to speak up and use the I statements, it's important for you to do that in setting the precedents for the relationship you want. And then how he responds is going to tell you a lot about, is this really an emotionally safe man to continue to be in this relationship with?
Yeah, and I love what you said too. Is he going to say, is he open to changing?
Mm-hmm.
Can he say, I'm sorry? All these things where this is a man that's open to open to change, really.
Yeah.
To hearing feedback, not being defensive.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. I mean, you can never, if somebody is not able to admit that that there is a potential that they could be wrong, and then take responsibility where they are wrong and see the impact that it has on you. If they're not able to do all of that, then I will tell you, you will never be successful in communication with them. You will never get anywhere, because if a person can't take responsibility at all and acknowledge that they did something wrong, and of course the take responsibility is, I see where I'm wrong and I'll change my behaviors, I'll change my actions. I won't be perfect at it, but I'll change my actions, because you're looking for somebody who can hear what you say and then do change their actions, not perfectly, but do change them.
Yes, it reminds me, I was on the third date with my husband. Well, he's my now husband.
Yes.
And we were talking and he interrupted me, and I said, you just interrupted me. And he said, I'm sorry. He goes, sometimes I do that. Please let me know when
Nice.
I do. Mm-hmm. And I was like, thinking in my head, ding, 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 this is a good guy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, because he took your statement, he acknowledged that he did it, and he asked for the feedback to, if he does it again, to help him with that. Nice.
So that's what you want to be looking for, ladies. And, if you could just take this these, these couple of tips that Deborah gave and start implementing them right away. Like, and she's going to be giving away, there's going to be more details in her free gift. Is there anything else you would like to say, Deborah?
No, I think we covered. I'm going to go back to what I said at the beginning. Set the precedents early on. Don't tolerate, unacceptable behaviors.
Yes, exactly. Start it from the beginning, because this is what we're talking about here in this online event. Dating to set yourself up for success, to have that lasting love. So yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Deborah. It was amazing. Great information.
Wonderful. Thank you. And ladies, go out and practice it. And it is a practice.
It's a practice for sure.
Thank you for having me, Kim. It was wonderful.
It's a pleasure. And for those of you who are watching, stay tuned for our next expert. I'm Kim Quick, your host, and we had Deborah Morehead here today, and I will see you soon. Wow, wasn't that amazing? I just love how there's so many great nuggets of wisdom that help solve finding a man for you. If you would like to own this episode and go deeper in having a man that loves and adores you for you, then I invite you to get my VIP access package. Not only will you own all the series to this event, you will receive a free ticket to my upcoming workshop, How to Release Your Barriers to Love and Have a Man That You Desire. Not only that, you will receive an access to my training series, How to Screen Men's Online Profiles Before the First Date. This is a video training series that you are going to love. Also, you will receive a VIP love breakthrough call with me, where we're going to discuss what is personally getting you stuck in love and having a plan to have that amazing man to share your life with. If you would like to get access to this package, you can click on the link below that says Access Now. Not only will you get all the series, and you get all these bonuses for a value of over $2,000 for the fraction of the cost. That is right. And I will see you on the next episode to the Forever Love Formula online event.